Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another session of Cleaning Technology Talks. This time, we are going to ask our experts a very important question, which is, how has technology revolutionized the cleaning industry? With that, we'll explore its challenges, opportunities, and a lot more. But before we get started, let's meet our panelists. Joining us for this session today is Cindy Hermzan. She's the CEO of the Global Alliance of Facility Management Innovators. With us is Mr. Ron Segura. He's the president of Segura and Associates. Ms. Andrea Yoko, head of soft services Ijada. Ms. Pamini Hemaprabha, international hospitality professional and certified auditor. And Mohammad Mustaqim, key account manager, Lower Gulf, Torque. A hearty welcome to all our panelists. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick reminder for the audience before we get started. If you have any questions, please type them into the question box on your panel and I'll bring them up during the session. So let's begin this interesting session. My first question is open for all the panel members. Anybody is free to take it. How is technology revolutionizing the cleaning industry?
Wow. Samya, I think I would like to chip in first because I just couldn't, I was just going through this dynamic group of panelists, and it's amazing to see how each one of us has actually come from different parts of the world with amazing experience, and everybody together can collectively agree on one fact that cleaning industry, regardless where we are, where we come from and how many experience we've had, but the recent pandemic has actually redefined it all. And the cleaning industry has been revolutionizing since we began. Literally, me almost being close to 2 decades into this industry, I can firmly tell you that, you know, when we started off, we almost had almost no technology, I could say that. And we started off literally thorough manual, and over the decades, and I can say the last 5 to 7 years have been the best time in terms of technology innovation within the cleaning industry. And I think the automation has been given so much of importance, and cleaning industry has gone digitalized, I can say, lately. And the recent pandemic has definitely opened much more thought process into our industry, and the ability to look beyond paperwork, the ability to track and have proper records, and the ability to qualify for multiple audits that happen around us zone by zone. And all of this has actually led to a bigger market for this industry, especially the ones that we've had seems to be not enough anymore. And we really want to, you know, we have been given literally exposure into having the best cleaning supplies, and the high surfaces, the touch point cleaning, the time it takes, and how much it could be contained within a minute or 5 minutes, and all of that has actually chipped in. And I can definitely vouch for the fact that cleaning industry has become a lot better and has bright future in terms of technology. And there's so much that we could do, right from machines to chemicals to process to product. That's how I would like to say.
Yeah, I would like to say that we are really standing at the beginning of a new era in cleaning. As a keen observer of digital trends and working with startups every day here at FM Innovators, we see the following trends that I would like to sum up for you. First, and already well known, the IoT sensors and request buttons, often integrated in digital workplace management solutions. And then, of course, we see the specific IoT devices to track high-value mobile cleaning equipment. Then, of course, the robots, which are teamed up with the workforce to create these super teams. And then, for example, wearables, which is a little bit less known, but these can help cleaners to track and support physical problems they may have. And for cleaning workforce engagement, which is really very important, we think, gamification and social technologies are deployed too. And last but not at all least, we see also a huge potential in blockchain. Blockchain is to become the trusted enabler of smart contracts between cleaning provider and clients. And yeah, so we can definitely say that all kinds of technologies are touching the cleaning sector in its many specific aspects, as Pamini already said. And we're really just standing at the beginning of the curve.
Yeah, if I can extend also like over here, I would like to take a step back and talk about cleaning first as a task itself. So we know that like cleaning itself is a complex and challenging task. You can imagine like on any given day, these different facility owners, facility managers tries their best to satisfy relevant stakeholders, for example. It could be from their perspective, maybe end client or guest visiting the facility, for example, maybe audits, these days due to pandemic, as Pamani mentioned. But when you insert new variables of technology, what you are doing, basically, you're talking about transparency, you're talking about monitoring, you're talking about efficiency. And I believe with the introduction of these digital platforms, you can simplify some of the cleaning tasks, in a good way, in a productive way. Let's say like we offer disruptive data-driven cleaning management tools. So what you do basically, like you connect let's say one big facility, one entire building, maybe with, let's say like with 3 to 4 data points. Now, previously that was not possible. We know that like there was no introduction of technology, but now things have changed. So maybe with little bit of, let's say like effort and putting new sensors at the right places, you get live information, maybe of the visitor counts, for example, maybe the consumable status from different dispensers, and that's how you become, let's say like more efficient in this cleaning industry.
Certainly. Thank you, Mustaqim. Ron, would you like to add to this? How is technology revolutionizing the cleaning industry? How have you seen it change over the years?
I think the important thing to keep in mind is that the cleaning industry has always been an industry of change. When I started in this business, you cleaned the restrooms with bowl acid, and it was 25% hydrochloric acid. And, it was unsafe, but that's what you used. And we used paste wax, and we used ammoniated strippers, and there was no safety of any type. But over the years, we went from, for instance, the hydrochloric acid to phosphoric acid to non-acid, and now we're using chemicals that have a positive impact on health and green initiatives and sustainable initiatives. And now we're into robotics and communication processes that enable us to give information real time to our customers. And that's really great. But I think the most important thing that has never changed in our industry is pleasing and satisfying the customer, providing them with a facility at the standard level that we've agreed upon. And so all these technologies have, in my view, have done two things. Number one, they've enhanced our efforts to satisfy the needs of our customer. And then the second thing is now we're able to explain to them and show them the impact of what we do for them and how it impacts their productivity. It impacts the health of their buildings, their sustainability initiatives. So the heart of it has never went away, but all of these technologies are impacting and helping us to raise the professionalism of our industry. And with the pandemic, now we've been able to explain and in many cases teach our people the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting. And because of this pandemic, people are going to be watching what we do even more. So with the technology that we're able to use to give them real-time data and to give them the information that they need, that's really going to make, it's a good partnership. And I think going ahead, it's only going to get better.
Thank you, Ron. Andrea, why don't you take this question next? How have you seen the technology revolutionizing the cleaning industry?
Well, I think Ron has actually sort of covered quite a lot of it. As I was saying before we sort of started, I've been sort of working in sort of this industry for just over 40 years. And the only technology that we had was a mop and a bucket. And obviously various chemicals. And it's over time, if we have a look at, we've gone from a tub vac, upright vac, backpack vacuum, but each time we've looked and sort of, equipment has developed, it's always to have a look at how is it sort of benefiting the end user, that it makes their sort of role less laborious, shall we sort of say, supports them, but at the same time, ergonomically sort of has a positive impact on them, whilst looking at being able to improve the efficiency sort of that is required.
Thank you, Andrea. Interestingly, we have a question from the audience here. It's an anonymous question. It says, detergent-free cleaning is important these days due to sustainability and safety. Any ideas or opinions about this?
Yeah, if I have a look at, if you was to have a look at, for example, we all use microfiber cloths. When they were first launched, it was, you do not need sort of chemicals anymore. One of the things I'm actually looking at the moment, and it is very much because I'm inundated with so many new players on the market that have now got a new chemical. And I think there was probably when the pandemic first started, I must have had over 100 companies sort of in the first year. And what we want to have a look at, I've got this problem with too much disinfectant. For me, it's like the antibiotic. You take an antibiotic cold, you're lowering your immune system, and all of a sudden your antibiotics don't work. So it's very much the same when we disinfect everything. And as Ron mentioned earlier, sort of we're now everyone has an awareness now, and it's getting people sort of to understand that difference between cleaning, disinfecting, and sanitizing. And the assumption that, well, I'm using a disinfectant, I don't need to clean first. But one of the things that I am actually working on is looking at ozone water. Now, in the past, you used to have to buy this huge big machine. And this is now a handheld device. You literally put tap water in it. It kills 99% of all germs. If you need to sanitize, you need to leave it on 30, the dwell time is 30 seconds. So I'm kind of looking at those things. Yeah, that's my bit of technology. It's little things sort of like this. You just would fill it up with tap water. It's, as I say, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking at the moment, in conjunction, obviously, with looking at, the new technology that's available in the market.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Would anybody like to add to this question that our audience has raised? Detergent-free cleaning for sustainability and safety.
I've used, or I've had customers that have used the aqueous ozone very successfully. Once again, it's a product that like most green products don't have any color at all, but the training is good, and it's multiple usage. You can do a variety of different things. But again, I think one of the biggest things for me always is whatever the product is, training is important.
Yeah.
And the training always, and when I work with customers that are considering that, we make it mandatory that the manufacturer comes in and does the actual training, and we encourage the people to give feedback. If it doesn't work, how come? Tell us, and we work from there. But I think it's a good way to go. But the exciting thing is that there's a lot of other products that are coming out every day. I think one of the biggest things is that the chemists of manufacturers have been challenged, and I think that they're meeting that challenge. And that's the exciting part. So we have a lot more options than we had 5-10 years ago.
Thank you, Ron. Coming towards our next question, do facility owners prefer traditional cleaning technologies over new technologies? I mean, what would you say to those who resist the change? There are plenty of such players in the market.
May I?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. I think we are specialized in digital solutions. So tech solutions, software or hardware based, but always with software behind it. So no cleaning products, etc. And in this area, there's a lot of change happening right now. And here under the resistance, I think, and resistance in general, there's always resistance to change, to something new. That's the way humans are designed, I suppose. And facility managers on the client side are working to reach the highest level of building user experience, also as Ron said, and tech helps to achieve this. It is key to realize that society in general is living a convenience revolution. This means that as a society, we want to have access to any information or an answer to any request in 2 or 3 clicks on our cell phone, right? And we got used to that in the last years under the influence of Google and e-commerce. And this trend is also affecting cleaning activities. Building users want to reach the cleaning service in 2 clicks too, especially in COVID times, to check if their flexible desk has been cleaned, for example, or in public spaces like shopping malls. Both customers and the facility staff must be able to report any incidents in 1 QR scan and 2 clicks to the cleaning staff too, who then should be enabled to answer the request in 2 clicks from their side. So digital tech is here for cleaning teams to keep up with the pace of times.
Can I add to this point, please?
Sure. Please carry on, Mr. Singh.
So to answer your question, I would just extend what Cindy has just mentioned. So traditional, let's say like players in the market, facility owners, they do resist. The main reason, because like it's maybe the comfort zone, for example, or the current standard practice, or they have their own written SOPs. But the other news is that like those who resist change, like they will gonna face new challenges. There are certain reasons, I would say, for that, like as we are talking about pandemic, for example. So there's a higher expectation from the guests and customers, I would say, like on cleaning quality. So previously, like cleaning was only mentioned, but now cleaning quality is very important for the facilities. So when you say cleaning quality, that means more cleaning is now required, So maybe you need to pre-plan your cleaning schedules. New cleaning procedures, for example, like the standards and regulations, they have changed a lot after the pandemic, which requires, again, back to Ron's point, which requires more training, for example, which means like you are performing additional tasks, maybe with the same level of resources or maybe even less, because we have seen that crunch also, for example. Last but not the least, I would say like expectation on showing evidence of cleaning. This is, again, a new buzzword, I would say, in the market, evidence-based cleaning. So you do a cleaning, but you need to show evidence maybe to any government entity, to the auditors, to your end customer, for example, So that what that means basically, that means more administration, more reporting is required to keep up to date with the new regulations. So all these changing, I would say, like all these changing variables can only be catered or can only be achieved with new technologies.
Certainly, this is a very interesting point. Would anybody else like to add to this?
Sami, I would like to add from a operation point of view, because I think we are a excellent panelist, a group of panelists here. I am actually working in hotels, and I could represent the expectations of end user, which is the consumer. And we need to really be aware of the fact that, with all this new technology with regards to cleaning industry, which is now far more efficient, safer, and economical at times, what is the customer that expects from an industry where they would like to feel safe? We used to have an era where the customer used to come and stay at 5-star hotels because for the luxury, for the safety, and for the cleaning. But if you were to look at today's customers, and I think everybody unanimously would agree that the first thing after the pandemic, every single customer wants the cleanest and the most safest and the high, the hotel that gives them the cleanest rooms, the cleanest lobby. And I would like to agree with Mustaqim again on the fact that the evidence needs to be seen and felt. And many a times we have seen lately that the customer is becoming increasingly aware of what cleaning standards are, which never used to be like that before. Even at home, the moment anybody comes to our home, we expect them to wash their hands or disinfect. I think never before we had this culture, and that shows the expectant, the kind of expectants we people have become, and how they are expecting their stay to be, because they travel with families, they travel with vulnerable community, and that puts us under a lot of pressure to ensure that everything is not just visibly clean, but also in terms of records, in terms of administrative works, in terms of the upkeep of these records. We need to have the technology that drives all and that touches all the factors of having the right chemical with lower carbon footprints, with sustainable technology, best training methods to ensure that once we start off something, we have consistency in achieving the cleaning standards, the audits requirement that includes a lot of administrative work. So now the cleaning is just not that doesn't fall into one or two zoners. The zoners have been created. There are many boxes to fill right now, because cleaning industry has become the #1 industry, and people have increasingly become aware of what cleaning means to them, not just from a supplier point of view versus the operator point of view, but at the end consumer point of view, because the guests, you have no idea. I mean, nowadays the guests actually call, and they have these meetings with housekeepers. They actually call the housekeeper. They say, I would like to meet the executive housekeeper. I would like to understand how this has been cleansed, because this was never a part of pattern earlier on. So we have to really be mindful of all of these areas. And one thing I really want to touch base here is the fact that, like with the recent pandemic, we need to understand not all chemicals work. Earlier, we used to have generic chemicals to work with, and obviously we used to have the specified, professional company which used to deliver a certain chemicals, and that used to work literally on all surfaces. Now you are expected to carry with you a specified chemical on high touch surfaces area of the outlet or of the hotels, and you need to have evidence of using that particular chemical within, like let's say every hour you need to have a record of high touch surfaces area being disinfected. Now this again, has to be mindful that you can't literally use any and every chemical to let go of these viruses. Now these viruses need to be disinfected by certain chemicals, not any other chemical. Now for that you need to have the proper stock of it, the proper training of it, the proper record keeping of it, because all of this gets audited. So I can only just say that cleaning industry has definitely evolved, and actually people have become more and more demanding when it comes to, comes to, especially in these pandemic area, what hygiene means to them, what cleaning means to them. The definition has definitely changed.
Yeah, and I think too, definitely the pandemic has had a major impact on whether you're in-house, whether you oversee a cleaning department, you're a contractor. And I think it's really important that we understand that now more than any time in the history of cleaning, that we have an opportunity to be the experts. For instance, people have been at home. They've been watching all of the news stations, and they've become experts at disinfection. When they come back and they reoccupy their buildings, they're going to be looking at the cleaning staff, and they're going to have some type of idea of what they should be doing. And just in regards to the hotel industry, I've sat in on some meetings. It used to be that if a company was going to go off site and have a meeting at a hotel, then the customer or the customer would have their meeting planner meet with the salespeople of the hotel, and they negotiate a price and everything would be done. But it's not unusual now for the risk management people of the company that is going to have that meeting to actually be involved in that meeting. And again, for us in the cleaning industry, we are the experts. We know far more than they have. And because of that, they really value what we're bringing to the table. And again, they're concerned if it's a building and people are going to reoccupy it, they want to see something in writing. And they do want to know what chemicals you're using. What type of spraying are you using? What do you consider a touch point? And it depends on different parts of the areas. So the old way or the traditional way of cleaning, those days are gone, because even after the pandemic is past, we will still use, in my opinion, we will still use these methods.
Yeah, and as we are talking about recording the things that we do in cleaning, what products are used and what intensity at what places, then this recording cannot be done in books but written. A building user or any stakeholder of the cleaning team has to be able to access this information in 2 clicks. Again, this convenience revolution, so that we can reflect our work correctly and that anybody can have access to the security that we are providing and show evidence of that.
Thank you for sharing your valuable insights. This session is proving to be really insightful. We have a couple of questions from the audience, which we want to take now. So these are open to all panel members, of course. Mr. Gianni Grizzoli says, aqueous ozone is a fantastic technology, food grade and non-harmful. Why is nobody in UAE applying it? Would anybody like to present their opinion about this?
I think possibly it could be with the representation or the marketing of it. You know, in the United States, it's, you know, they really made an all-out effort. I know in Australia, they use it pretty much. But that's what I would think. I don't know what the distribution is or what the coverage is in your area, but it'd be worthwhile. You could get on the ISSA site, and they're, one of the companies is Tersano, Tersano, and I've used them, recommended them extensively. But there are other ones also, but aqueous ozone, I think, is very worth pursuing.
We have another question. Sure.
I would just like to comment in a general way. So what is happening after pandemic? We have seen a lot of new technologies, a lot of new products like coming in the market, you know, and at government level or at municipality level, it's still like those bodies are not ready. Like they're still exploring or preparing themselves to introduce new products in the market. So maybe this product will work, will be efficient, you know, but as of now, I believe like most organizations are using the standard way. Let's say with hand sanitizer, for example, there are other ways of cleaning bacteria, for example, killing the bacteria, but we are using the standard way as of now, let's say in UAE or in the Middle East, you know, but these things will change, you know, in the future. So it's, I would say like in the future, we will definitely have different options in terms of detergents and cleanings also.
Thank you, Mustaqim. We have another question from the audience, and this one is for Andrea, actually. Andrea, there was a certain tool which you showed while answering one of the previous questions. So the question is, where can I find this tool?
I would have to sort of share later sort of the agent or the company. The company is called Trio, or Trent. And I'm looking at it more because I'm trying to reduce the amount of chemicals that we use, eliminate the risk of mixing chemicals used on the wrong surfaces, and the fact that it is tap water. Also the fact from an environmental point of view is you've got so many plastic bottles that the chemicals are in. This is one device, tap water. Yeah, it's, but at the moment I'm doing my own due diligence, sort of testing, because I have an ATP tester. So I am sort of checking surfaces, the before and after. What are the sort of the levels of cleanliness, and then looking at, I mean, I can tell you it removes the smell of fish, that's for sure. Well, that's what it claimed in the brochure, and yeah, I had a bit of a fishy incident in my freezer, and yeah, it removed, but it, there is that ozone smell that comes sort of afterwards. It's not a fragrant lemon smell, but it eliminates odors. So it's got multiple purposes, but like you would look at a chemical, or you'd look at a piece of equipment or a robot, you have to do your due diligence.
Thank you so much for sharing, Andrea. Now coming to my next question, what are some of the most ingenious technological advancements of the cleaning industry? Ron, could you take this first?
Yeah, I thought about this as I was thinking about it. I saw something on YouTube within the last couple of days. It was a robot to clean restrooms. And the robot opens the door to a restroom. I didn't see it knock on the restroom, but it goes into the restroom and it does all the general cleaning, the commodes, the urinals, the floors, the mirrors. And I thought that was pretty ingenious because, as you know, because of the pandemic, many times the customer wants more disinfection, but they don't have the money to compensate it. But I thought that it was pretty ingenious because if you had an area where there were a lot of restrooms, this robot would go in there and at practically a very little cost could do all the general work. And then you could still reallocate somebody to do the disinfection or the heavy disinfection. But I think that's pretty innovative. And to me, and I'm not a computer savvy person, if it doesn't point and click, then it doesn't work for me. But it's amazing how much technology is out there now that can contribute to communication with staff and customers. I mean, you could use it for everything, and you can point and click and you get your customer instant data. So I think those are some areas for me that I really find pretty ingenious, because I would never think of something, an electronic device that could do so much.
Thank you, Ron.
Yes.
Cindy, would you like to add to this?
Oh, yes. It's exactly there where the most ingenious tech is coming from these days. We've got the physical technical devices like drones and like robots, which are really ingenious because they have layers of intelligence, artificial intelligence built in them. That's amazing. Then what we talked about before about the sensors, the IoT, the Internet of Things sensors in their different varieties. What we have seen, and blockchain for the future, as I said before, what we have seen from our conversations with both FM service providers and tech companies, they have shown us that the true ingenious factor, so the X factor, let's say, lies in the combination of various smart technologies and the engagement of the workforce. They have to be very comfortable using the technology. The frontline cleaners must feel they perform better and feel that they are supported mentally, not menaced, okay? That is key with any digital technology that is installed, and also with robots, right? I think we all feel that, this menace of a robot substituting cleaning teams. It's not like that, and it will not be like that, because a robot cleaner, imagine how powerful a human brain is, and also articulating. What would a robot cost that could exactly move like a person and have the same brain power? We're not yet there yet, right? So we should not feel menaced about that. I know a service provider who set up a venture, so a freestanding startup to work on things with engagement. And they are using gamification and social technologies. And the first pilots are now running in real situations, and they are really very promising. And over there, they test quite well, because it's also all this tech is all developing itself on real sites. It has to be testing feedback. So it's a feedback loop with the teams who are using it constantly, and also to see where they feel menaced and how to get that idea out of their heads. Yeah, but when we say genius, I would say this combination between various technologies, wherever they are, and having the power of engaging the persons that really are using that tech.
I would like to add here, so when you talk about technological advancement, so I believe we need to keep one stakeholder at the very top of the pyramid. I always believe is a cleaner. Like technologies in the future which will empower a cleaner, they will definitely flourish. We talk about technologies which help cleaners identify different service issues, for example, by understanding different patterns of data and acting on the important task, for example, in a proactive way. This will definitely be seen in the future. And these platforms which offers better ways of working for cleaners, and definitely was Cindy was talking about, definitely it will increase staff motivation and engagement. So these are some of the important areas. I was listening to one of the panel discussions earlier. I think Ashwin mentioned that now in the washroom setting, for example, like no one wants to touch any surfaces. They want in a minimal way, we would say, like, so if we introduce a robot also, like people maybe will more comfortable. But same with the dispensers, for example, say they don't want to touch the dispenser, maybe with the hand soap, sanitizers, or hand towel dispenser. Everything should be touch free. We have seen after the pandemic, these things have changed already. And I would say like in the future, this will become new standard for all high footfall facilities, I would say.
Thank you. Yes, Pamela.
Sir. Yeah, I think I would like to add something very, very amazing that I came across personally was the fact that the end cleaner used to carry multiple chemicals with him to treat different surfaces. Then there came an era where there was only just one bottle that he or she was meant to carry, and that could actually be okay to use on all surfaces. I think as an end user perspective, someone as an attendant and a cleaner at a very grade 1 level, I think it was very, very nice. I think it immediately brought a smile on the attendant's face, as he had to not carry multiple chemicals and not remember multiples. It was a very, very plain process. Just carry one, have one sort of training, perhaps have to use different dusters though, so that he doesn't merge. But then that was one thing that I came across. Very recently, I came across another technology where all the cleaning devices were wireless. And I think that's amazing, because we still have cleaning equipments that people actually, the attendants use inside the room, public areas, open surfaces, basements, which has long cables connected to one end. Even if you were to stay in any of the hotels, you would come across, those wires, being visible, and then the whole team goes around to try to hide it and try to fix it. So this was very amazing. This very recently we came across, and we also wanted to budget it for the next year, because this, I think, was very, very much, from a guest point of view, I think the cleaning becomes more and more invisible and more stylish. I think it was amazing thought process, and I think those two kind of thing that stuck in my mind.
Thank you, Pamini. Andrea, would you like to add to this?
I've got to admit, for me, the sort of technology, and I think it's underutilized, is the steam. Steam, you can use it on hard surfaces, soft surfaces, upholstery, and it kills viruses. It's just one of those that is, as I sort of said, it's underutilized as far as I'm concerned. And if I have a look at, we a year, 2 years ago, we bought a new scrubber dryer for a car park. And we again did due diligence. We brought in sort of several service suppliers that all brought their equipment. It was tested, and we went for the new technology of hot water, and it was very successful, which is obviously why we went with that. But because it's purely hot water, there was no chemicals. And it's all of, looking at trying to sort of, the care of the planet, sort of the cost of storage of chemicals and potential misuse. And yeah, it's steam. I mean, there's a few others. I mean, obviously, sort of, we have a look at sort of with what is happening sort of now. You've got, UVC, you've got UVC lights, sort of robots, and they all have their place.
Certainly, we've come across various technologies during this entire tech talk that are really going to change the cleaning industry. They already have, and I think they're going to bring more benefit to this industry in the coming years. We have a couple of questions from the audience. The first one is from Lucas Carr. Lucas says, showing the value of an innovation is extremely difficult. Hence, how do you argue the costs? Would anybody like to take this question?
Oh, this is amazing. From an operation point of view, we always have this thing to juggle with as something that we really like. We would like to implement, but the budgets are always limited. Then you go back, you have a little bit of study, in your mind how to present it to your finance, and oftenly it's not a very easy battle to win. We all know that in an operation it's very difficult. I think one thing I would like to, there are few tips that I would like to share here. The fact that all the housekeepers and all the cleaning professionals have become increasingly vigilant and increasingly increasingly aware of the fact that latest technology and innovation would help. Now that's a key that has really gone into the minds of professionals very well. And also the people who are not related to cleaning industry, like the admin, like the finances, the admin officers, your higher authority, have also become increasingly aware and vigilant. So it helps. Now everyone after the pandemic has actually given the benefit of doubt to cleaning industry and have also gone flexible in terms of budget allocations, and also they are ready to go around it to support whatever the latest has come into the market. So it has become a lot easier than before. And second, I think we really have to have the practice of involving the hygiene manager, who are always placed on site, because they are with increased number of audits, with increased number of patrolling and a lot of different forms to click. Hygiene managers have become more and more involved into cleaning industry, and it's very important to have the demos and the kind of a little demos done at your property, involve them, do a study and present it to your higher management, seek their approval. And we have to be a little bit proactive. Preferably it would be nice if they could arrange it at the last quarter of the year, or perhaps the second quarter of the year, so it's easy to budget it the next year, and not like a beginning of the year is almost very, very tricky to kind of allocate any sort of huge innovations into the rolling forecast or into the rolling budget. So it's always important that we actually become a little bit of, we have a proactive measure here, and we try to meet with all the people, and also all the suppliers must make sure that the third quarter of a year is somewhere they really target all the housekeepers. They go around it, they try to meet as many as people they can, they present their latest product that they have, and then the housekeepers in liaison with all the hygiene managers, engineers, and whatever parties that we need to include, we start doing the demos and start rolling out the awareness campaign, so that thing gets included into our next year budget. And that obviously depends on the cost factor, whether it's going to be a one-time investment, whether it's going to be a recurring investment or a quarterly investment. And that's from the ops perspective that I would like to comment.
Thank you,
If I
Pamini.
could add here, like I would definitely second what Pamini just said. We need, I would say, more education in this particular area from organizational point of view. Previously, what used to happen, let's say before pandemic, there was a sort of a linear approach, that purchasing takes a decision, for example, for a single facility. But now we have seen there is a change in demand from the guest. If we talk about hospitality, from let's say restaurants, also there is a change in demand on the cleaning. So now I believe we need to plan this thought of non-linear approach. So that would mean including other stakeholders with creative ideas, let's say safety managers, hygiene experts, So overall at organizational level, you justify the cost, why you are doing this. So definitely if it brings operational efficiencies, then you would definitely go for it. So it's all about looking at the very long-term picture, what benefits are you getting? And I wouldn't, maybe it will not take so long, like in the future, and customers will demand maybe XYZ technologies with, let's say, with certain hotels, for example, then you don't have any choice. You have to implement it, for example. So things are changing very quickly.
Exactly. The building experience, the user is asking for a different experience in the building, and not only on factual cleaning, but also on seeing it and having access to that data. And that comes exactly what Mustaqim says. Times are changing. Younger people want to see other evidence and want to access information in a different way that I'm 40 years old. I was not used to it neither. But when we go at the ages of 25, 30, 40 years old, people ask different things from us. Not only that the cleaning is better, which we all ask, but also to have evidence in a mobile phone, right? And when we go towards costs, etc. So one of the elements of value that we have to include of digital solutions is not really tangible. Okay, it is about experience, about what we offer in 2 clicks to the stakeholders, right? At the same time, there are solutions that give direct advantages in costs. For example, I know a startup that installs IoT devices in cleaning, more expensive cleaning machines, cleaning equipment. For example, the latest shrub machines, so that the service provider always sees where these machines are and can see how to optimize, maybe moving around from site to site. And also the people who are working with that machine can say, hey, listen, it is not working, scan a QR code and directly have click and say what the problem is with that machine, so that a maintainer can go quickly to that machine to repair it. So these kind of fluxes of processes have a value too. And over there, maybe the cost reduction when implementing a digital solution can be seen quite quickly. So it depends on the solution, and there are so many solutions out there.
I think one of the things that probably is the downfall of new product introduction and being accepted or decision being made to purchase is the lack of ability to identify the return on investment. And when you have, for instance, a piece of equipment and you've seen that it impacts the productivity, it impacts the sustainable program in a positive way, then this really is a team effort, because you need information that's going to be of interest to the finance people. You need information that's going to be of interest to the environmental people. And you need information that will be a benefit to the staff that's going to be doing the actual work. And it doesn't mean that whoever wants it in the company is going to do it on its own, but it should be a team effort which includes all those stakeholders. And then the one that really drives it is distribution, your distributor, and your manufacturer, and they will give you the data that you can use. Too many times the salespeople that want to sell a product will go directly to the person that's going to be using it. And then he has to go and present it to those above him, and they don't have the information. and it's shut down. So I really see it as a team effort, with all of this data being directed to each stakeholder in the different departments.
Thank you, Ron. As expected, this session is turning out to be extremely interactive from the audience's side. Now, our next question is also from the audience, and the next couple of questions that I'm going to ask will also be from the audience. So this one is for Pamini. Pamini, Sumesh Nair asks, what technological revolutions would you like to see in the cleaning industry, especially in hotels?
That's a wonderful question, actually. And I would say that more than ever before, more than any time in the past, I think the housekeepers in today's era are under huge pressure to make sure that the cleanliness is definitely not compromised. The standards are not compromised. And I have to say that the standards level have actually tripled within the cleaning sectors, and more so in housekeeping, in the hospitality, especially in a 5-star hotel sector. And I would like to see something that is more traceable in terms of, like, let me give you a scenario to better articulate this. If I am the executive housekeeper of a certain property, and I have defined the fact that every hour this needs to be disinfected, this surface needs to be disinfected, and training is given, we have very manual monitoring systems in place, and we have the supervisor who goes around the area and makes sure that this happens. But what would really help us is the fact that if we could get an automation here to ensure that with a click of a button in my office, I can see all my areas getting disinfected. I really don't have to manually go around. And I know Andrea is giving me that lovely smile, because trust me,
I'm looking at Cindy's reaction. She's
exactly. This is something, because we really want, Cindy has exactly, I can see the excitement on your face. This is something that we really want to have it, to have it like now in the industry. Because from my office, I really don't have to worry about the fact that did this room attendant or did this attendant do it, because he's supposed to do it every hour. Now, what have I got in place right now? I've got a supervisor on those people who actually goes around and makes sure he does it. Now we have training, we have chemicals, we have dusters, we have the whole 9 yards, you name it, is there. But would be nice that, that it can be just visualized, and I know, okay, he's done it, without having to really check with my supervisor whether this is done.
Exactly, Pamini. You are a perfect victim of the convenience revolution, and we all are, okay? So it would even be better if you could trust the system on being good and only be alarmed when it's not good.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not here. Tech is not something that is made to boss your people around, right? That's not necessary. What you want to see is only the occasions that are wrong. So little alarms, boop, boop, and that you can trust that whenever there's no alarm, your team is doing good, right? That's a little bit, and you have to be able to see this on the dashboard and exit it on your mobile phone and go wherever you need to go to do your job, and just see, okay, they're okay, or there are no alarms, so we're fine. Yeah,
exactly.
And that is what tech has to do for you. That is what tech has to do for you. At this moment, I have not encountered yet a startup that can do this, but these kind of challenges, if we set them out like real person experiences, like you are calling out now, towards the startup ecosystem, I'm sure there will be companies who will pick this up. And
absolutely.
These guys are 25 years old.
Absolutely.
Coca-Cola next to a computer, they can create marvelous stuff, and we should take advantage of that.
Absolutely, because these are the real time problems, because we have our management, ask us, okay, did anybody clean this toilet, and we say, yes, it was done an hour ago. So it's the thing is that it's very manual, and you can't really run the camera checks every 1 hour or 2 hour whether the attendant entered or not. It's just not possible, and it would be a huge blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. When you went at home, you ask for new socks, and you buy them on e-commerce. I don't know if you are working with Amazon, but I even can see if the socks are 5 minutes of being delivered to my home.
True.
So and that's not even important to me, you know?
True,
But so
true.
anything that would really be important, like you say, hey, I need to see this, I have to have this vision. Come on, we should put technology on that, you know?
Absolutely.
It'd be marvelous, yeah. And that's
I
what
would like to add here,
advanced,
if it's okay.
IoT. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
So yeah, I'm also excited because it relates to what we do on a day-to-day basis, for example, under our Talk brand. So Pamini, I understand like what challenges you're facing, for example, and every big establishment, let's say airport, shopping malls, hotels, they're facing these challenges on a day-to-day basis. But I'm in the right virtual room, I would say, and I'm talking to the right set of stakeholders here. Just imagine a technology, what you're talking about, like which gives you what we call the recommended cleaning plans, you know. This is maybe what you're looking for, you know, based on your certain thresholds. So you set a certain threshold, maybe at this particular time, at this particular session, you know, you want to see that particular information in terms of cleaning. You can easily understand, for example, which areas require more time in cleaning, maybe due to high traffic in one of the conferences room, and which areas require less focus. So as a facility owner, you take these decisions based on the data, because what we do, like we talk about a change in mindset from frequency-based cleaning to need-based cleaning or digital cleaning plans, for example. So we work with more than 200 customers around the world in different these sort of segments, as I mentioned, airport, shopping malls, and hotels. And what we have understood is that a facility can achieve up to 24% fewer cleaning rounds with improved quality, and they can save at least 20% on cleaning hours. So what you get the reports whenever you want, let's say like cleaner wise, supervisor wise, for example, and you make those decisions. And on top of that, you are saving, let's say like cleaning rounds also. So you're saving manpower cost also, for example. So it's a win-win equation for all of us. And you're right, due to the increased demand in cleaning, things has to go digital, and that's how you can
Yes,
respond in a best way.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll quickly take the next question. We have a lot of questions coming in from the audience, and I don't think we'll be able to take all because we are short on time, but we'll take as many as possible. Okay, so the next question is from Mr. Imran Akram. Imran asks, how do you reconcile implementing cutting edge cleaning technologies with a less mature workforce? Who would like to take the
Trainings.
question?
Trainings.
I think
Training.
Training, and training.
Oh my
It's
God.
true. And it's if I can just, I know I don't want to take much of a time on the e-field, but then I can just say that from an ops perspective, training and the kinds of training, revolutionizing trainings. There has to be a revolution in trainings. It's like you cannot copy paste the age-old practice or methodology of training in today's generation. You need to find the training, the ways you train them, how you can use the smartphones in digitalizing your training, how can you use the technology, and understanding that not necessarily every person gets this way of training. So how can I make sure that this training is is redefined and modified into ease way of explaining or describing it to the staff. There is one myth I would like to break. Everybody thinks they're a trainer. No, that's the biggest myth. Every executive housekeeper, every manager thinks they are trainers. No, that's the biggest myth. No, you're not. Because training needs specific skill. You need to be able to have that skill to engage with staff. Now, not necessarily it's a bad thing for you not to have it, but then don't claim yourself a trainer. Hire one, or train somebody who can actually take this load. Now, biggest problem in the industry is that everybody thinks that they can train the people. No, they cannot, because training is a very specific skill. Now, you need to have a right trainer, fundamentally. Second, you need to have the right kind of training practices, and you need to revolutionize. You can't really have copy paste of trainings. And third is you need to track the consistency, and you see how it is put in use and whether it's effective or not. So basically it is a circular model. You hire the right person, you train the right person, you monitor it, and you redo it. So it's a very recurring concept. You can't really train and then forget about it. So you need to have a training modules in place. You need to have training calendars in place. You need to have a department trainer in place. You need to have training audits in place. And then you need to have rewards and incentive system so that the people value training and people really get closer to training concept. Unless you have these systems in place, the training doesn't work.
And don't ignore the input from your employees, because
True.
some of the best trainers are developed from in your own staff, and they'll tell you what is not working and what they
Absolutely.
enjoy.
Absolutely.
Certainly, absolutely. With that, I think we will have to close this panel discussion, although I don't want to. There are many questions from the audience, which we do not have. Unfortunately, we are short on time now. So what we can do is that we'll take your questions and we'll forward them to our panel, and we'll cover it in the upcoming issue of our magazine. That's what we certainly can do. And thank you all the panel members for being a part of Cleaning Technology Talks. This was, I think, one of the most engaging sessions of this entire day. And we are absolutely delighted to have all of you on board for this discussion. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to all our listeners, stay tuned for the last session of Cleaning Tech Talk, which starts in 5 minutes. It's about new technologies that drive sustainability in hotels. Stay tuned. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Nice meeting all of you.